Hello, I'm Remy. Nice to meet you. And can you please introduce yourself and
Sure.
your company?
Sure. So my name is Dario Tranchitella, but forget the surname. It's very hard, especially for Americans. And I am the co-creator of Kamaji, which has been adopted by OVHcloud. And I'm very happy to be here at KubeCon London.
That's cool. And how do you think right now what you're developing is helping multi-cluster adoption?
Yeah, keep in mind that essentially Kamaji was born from my pain in managing multiple Kubernetes clusters. So essentially, we met a lot of people managing not one, not even dozen, but maybe 100 of clusters, and the pain was real. So essentially what we did was try to intercept the requirements, the needs of these people and write software, because essentially software are solving a lot of problems, and Kamaji is trying to solve the Kubernetes at scale dilemma and problem, because it's not just a matter of hardware, instances, cloud costs, but it's also about operations. So, we are humans, we like our work, but we prefer have chill time, rather than debugging network and provisioning servers.
What do you think are the key challenges that a company can face when trying to start and develop multi-cluster management or multi-cluster deployments?
Essentially, it's the operations, so the operational burden, because you have multiple clusters, and the cluster, essentially, you need to take care of them. We always try to adopt the cattle approach. So essentially, we have worker machines who are joining the cluster, and workers can be, I'm sorry for the bad word, but they can be killed and created back again. So kill, repeat, and go and so forth. But the problem is that with the control plane is not the same concept, because the control plane is the brain of the cluster. So you can't use the same concept of cattle there. So essentially, I think that the main problem is that you have multiple clusters. So the amount of time and efforts to maintain such a fleet of clusters is not linear with the amount of instances of clusters, but rather, yes, it's logarithmic.
How do you integrate or work with different cloud providers such as OVHcloud regarding Kubernetes clusters deployments?
We are very happy, because essentially keep in mind that open source is caring. So it was great to talk with the OVH people, and same time also working with other providers. I'm not saying the name because we are here at OVHcloud, but you can see it from the adopters. But it's great because essentially we are seeing always a pattern, and the pattern is that managing at scale is very hard. So what we are trying is to create a sort of open collective of cloud providers, trying to understand the pain points, and trying to find a solution to offer an agnostic implementation of the hosted control plane architecture on which Kamaji is leveraging. So running the control plane as regular pods and consuming the control plane as a service.
Right now in 2025, do you see emerging technology or emerging ideas that can shape the way we deploy multi-cluster infrastructures or multi-provider infrastructures?
It's very hard trying to answer that question, because,
it's moving fast.
it's moving too much fast, But I remember when I started my journey in the cloud native landscape, I was managing just 1, 2, 3 clusters, and it was a lot of clusters to me. And now we are seeing a lot of organizations, they have hundreds of clusters. And I have no idea how the market, but also the community will answer this dilemma. But I see, at least for me, a technical response, which is Cluster API. It's an open source project backed by Kubernetes Special Interest Group. And essentially, it's having a single pane of glass. So in the past, we moved to have multiple instances, so totally independent. And now we are switching back to a single point of failure, but it's not a point of failure. I'm just joking, but it's a single pane of glass, because we are humans and we need to have a single view, a 9,000 overview of the whole infrastructure. So we need to centralize, but at the same time also avoiding single point of failure. It's very hard.
And have a trusted point of entry for to gather information.
A sort of inventory of all the clusters.
What do you think is the most common misconception about cluster deployment or cluster management that Kamaji helped to debunk, helped to solve?
This
That
is very,
it's easy?
no, it's easy, yes. But keep in mind that at the beginning, when we started Kamaji, they were saying, no, you can run the control plane as pods. But eventually, we were right because we talk with a lot of providers, even with OVH, and essentially that was the right approach. Because if you want to run at scale, you need to do something that it's uncommon. So
Yeah.
it's innovation. And we are very happy because we were on the right direction and we have been fostered also by OVH, picking up our technology and trying to answer in a small sentence. When I was providing talks about Kamaji at the beginning, they were saying, no, you can run the control plane as pods. But in reality is that even if you are creating virtual machines for the control plane is still running as pods.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's just a matter of, we are talking about tomato or potato. So
That was interesting. Thank you for your time and your answers. And
Yeah, thanks.
have a good KubeCon.
thanks. You too.